Thank you very much. Let me welcome you to Math Zone African Motives, whereby we are still under preparations and revisions and the needed courses, whereby now we are looking at marketing management and four as a course and as a core subject under marketing management. So we are on part two. We are on part two. So on part two, we are going to start with question 5. We're going to start with question 5, 6, and 7. So that is a continuity of the part 1 that we did together. So this is still the question paper that was written in November last year, 2024. So also there are still instructions. As you know, the instructions, you are to go through what the instruction. Please don't attend any question without going through the instructions. They are very important. Make sure that you go through what the instructions. They are very, very important. So as we have already read them, so let me quickly go straight to the question 5. So our question 5 reads as follows, where we are given what a case study now. We're given a case study. So let us go through this case study. Study a scenario below and then answer the questions that follow. That's scenario or case study that we are given. Then that is all about Coca-Cola's marketing strategy. It says today the Coca-Cola company's products are consumed at a rate more than 1 billion drinks per day. Coca-Cola's mission is to refresh the world, inspire moments of optimism, create value, and make difference. The company's vision serves as the framework for our roadmap and guides every aspect of our business by describing what we need to accomplish to continue achieving sustainable growth. The long-term marketing strategy consists of many elements connected, correlated, as well as integrated into companies' marketing goals. The basis of strong marketing strategy consists of proper research on all relevant factors. Coca-Cola takes a very customer as a target. However, its segmentation is mainly based on age, gender, family size, social class, and income. Perfect segmentation is a main factor for Coca-Cola's success. Age is one of the most important segments of Coca-Cola, dividing it mainly into two parts. Coca-Cola primarily addresses its products to a young customer base, aged between 10 to 35 years. That is why they often use well-known pop stars to promote their products. The company also targets universities, schools, colleges, and etc. in acquiring contracts. Then it further says income is another important factor. The company offers its products in different sizes and packages at various price levels. This makes it affordable for students, family, the middle class, and etc. This segment is also aimed at multiple family sizes because of the bottle size and packaging variation. So that is a case study that we have to go through before we can answer the questions that follow. So you go through this Coca-Cola marketing strategy, read it, understand it, so that it will be easy for you when you answer the questions. So it further on says, Coca-Cola places greater focus on the needs and desires of the market rather than on the internal abilities of the company. Diet products such as Coke Zero, Coca-Cola Light, Diet Coke, which address an elderly segment aged 40 plus, form part of the marketing mix. Low interest rates, low exchange rates, economic growth, low inflation rates attract manufacturers like Coca-Cola to borrow money and invest in a particular country. So that is that with the scenario that we're given. So now here are the questions that are following the scenario. First one, 5.51, identify 4 variables that make up the internal environment of Coca-Cola, that make up internal environment of Coca-Cola. So we are to identify 4 variables. So now we are to come to our answers. Here is our 5.1. The The variables that we are given here are company mission, company vision, marketing goals, marketing strategy, marketing mix. So you know very well when you talk of company mission, purpose and reason for existence. That's when you're talking about purpose and reason for existence of the company. Purpose and reason for existence. For existence. But with company vision, you're talking about future aspirations. You're talking about future aspirations. Aspirations and goals. But when you're talking about marketing goals, you're talking about specific, measurable, objectives. That's when you're talking about the marketing goals. But with marketing strategy now, we're talking about the plan to achieve marketing goals. 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 So marketing mix, as you know, marketing mix is about what? That is the tactics to execute strategy. That is tactics to execute strategy. Execute strategy. That's when you're going to talk about product, 4Ps, product, price, place, and the promotion. So this is how we expected to write about the 4 variables that make up internal environment of Coca-Cola. So now let us move on to the 5.2. So 5.2 reads as follows. Coca-Cola uses mainly demographic segmentation. They uses mainly demographic segmentation. Name 5 variables of demographic segmentations that Coca-Cola uses. So the question says it mainly uses demographic segmentation. So you have to name 5 variables of demographic segmentation. 5 variables of demographic segmentation. Here they are: gender, age, family size, income, social class. So you know when we are talking about gender, we're talking about male or female. We're talking about male or female. Age, different age groups. Different age groups. Then the family size, we are talking about number of people in a household. Number of people in a household. So income, no, we are talking about the level of disposable income. Level of disposable income. Level of disposable income. Social class, we are talking about economic status or social standing. We are talking about economic status or social standings. So these are the variables of demographic segmentation that Coca-Cola uses. So now we are moving on to 5.3. Identify 3 products that Coca-Cola offers to its customers. Identify 3 products that Coca-Cola offers to its customers. So that is that. So you can see that these are the 3 products that the Coca-Cola is offering to its customers: Diet Coke, Coke Zero, Coca-Cola Light. So here they are. As you've seen them, here they are: Coca-Cola Diet Coke, Coke Zero as well. These are the products, three products that Coca-Cola offers to its customers. So that is how you were to answer that question. That is how you were to answer that question. So question 5.4. Coca-Cola places a greater focus on the needs and desires of the market rather than internal abilities of the company. If Coca-Cola was a production orientation of the company, identify three questions management should ask themselves. That is what I say. If Coca-Cola was a production orientation company, if they were using a production orientation company, if they were a product orientation company, whereby now they believe in their internal abilities that what they produce is what the customers are going to buy. If they were to go with that orientation, then what? Identify three questions that management should ask themselves. So that is that. If they are to go with product orientation system. So here are the questions if they go for product oriented. So what do we do best? What do we do best with the available resources that we have as a company? So we are saying, what do we do best with the available resources that our company have according to our abilities? What can our design? Now, what can our design? Then you assess design capabilities. Now you try by all means to assess what design capabilities. What can we manufacture with the available equipment and resources? What can we manufacture with the available equipment and resources? So that is that you evaluate the production capabilities. Now you evaluate production capabilities with your available resources as well as the equipment. Which services will be the most beneficial to rent? You determine the valuable service offerings. This one now you are going to determine valuable service offerings. Where do our strengths lie? So that is that. You recognize the area of expertise in your company. If you are to go with product-oriented system, if you are doing what you call, if your company is a product orientation company. So now let us move on to another question. 5.5. Let us move on to 5.5. So 5.5 reads as follows. Studying the consumer behavior helps marketers of Coca-Cola understand what influences consumer buying decisions. So mention 6 steps of the consumer decision-making process that Coca-Cola consumer go through when they are considering making purchases. When they are considering making purchases. So it means now you are asked to mention 6 steps of consumer decision-making process that Coca-Cola customers go through when they are considering making a purchase. Consumer buying process. That's what it wants us to do. So now moving on to the answers. The first one, when you are doing what you call consumer buying process, when you're talking about those steps, awareness of need or a problem, recognizing need or problem. So you are to recognize a need or problem. You are to recognize the need or problem. Recognize a need or problem. Search information. That is another step that you can go for. Where it says search information. You gather information about potential solution. You gather information about potential solution. Potential solutions. That is that. So here, evaluate alternatives. Evaluation of alternatives. So evaluation of alternatives, you compare options now. Compare options. Decision on solution. You choose product or service. That's when now you choose, you make a decision. Choose a product or service. Choose a product or service. Choose a product or service. Then action to purchase the product. Now you take action to purchase product after now you've chosen the product that you want to go for or a service that you want to go for. So now that is when you buy the product. Buy the product. Do this. So the last one, behavior after the purchase. That is when post-purchase evaluation. Post-purchase evaluation. Purchase evaluation or and potential loyalty. That is that. So these are the steps that you are to go through. These are the steps that you are to go through when making a decision. So those are the steps of the consumer decision-making process. So the customers go through when they are considering making a purchase. So 5.6, which market segmentation approach does Coca-Cola use? Which market segmentation approach does Coca-Cola use? Use the information in the scenario to motivate your answer. Use the motivation in the scenario to motivate your answer. That is 5.6. So as you can see, it's written differentiated market segmentation, multi-segmentation strategy, motivation. So now we're saying it's what? Differentiated market segmentation or multi-segmentation. Then motivation. It serves different segments such as elderly people, aged between 40 plus years, young customers base, aged between 10 to 35 years. So we can even go to our scenario and see those information that you're talking about. And if you go there, you see here we're talking about the Coke addresses elderly segment age between 40 plus. And then also there is where we were given the information itself 35 to here it is, where it says age is one of the most important segments of Coca-Cola. Here it is. And dividing it mainly in two parts. Coca-Cola primarily address what? Young customer base, age between 10, 35 years. So you see, that is our first motivation that we can talk about again. So this is our motivation. And when you come here, you can see also they say diet products such as Coke Zero, Coke with address, and elderly segment aged 40 plus. So that is our second motivation. So this is what you've talked about here. So now we are going to another question. 5.7. So 5.7 read as follows. Name two ways of conducting individuals involved in research survey of Coca-Cola. Name two ways of conducting individuals involved in research survey of Coca-Cola. So now you can see that this telephone, mail, can also go for fax, personal contact. That is that. So now we have to move on to question 6 now. We are to move on to question 6. So question 6 read as follows. Complete the following sentence and write only your answer next to the question number in the answer book. A production-oriented organization will survive or prosper when? A production-orientation organization will survive or prosper when? That is 6.1. That is 6.1. It will prosper prosper when the demand exists supply, where no or poor competition exists in the market, where a high value is necessary to lower the price. So that is that. So that is our 6.1. That's how we answer it. The production-oriented organization will survive or prosper. Prosper when we remember we're talking about what? Production-oriented. So it will prosper when the demand exists, supply. If there are people who are going to demand our product. So it will prosper when the demand now exists, supply. When no or poor competition exists in the market. When a high volume is necessary to lower the price. That is that. 6.2, a company A made a total revenue of 250,000 from selling a hand sanitizers. In same period, it incurred total expense of this much. Profitability can be seen as a measure of achieving an objectives. From the information above given, calculate the net profit. Provide the formula for the net profit calculation. Show all the calculations. Then you have to get what? 10 marks. So that is our net profit. That is our net profit. Income or sales is 250 as it says. Then minus total cost. Then that 250 minus 175,000, then it will give us this. This is our net profit. This is our net profit. Income or sales minus total cost. That's the formula that you are to use. That's the formula that you are to use. So now we are moving on to another question. 6.3. Now we are on 6.3. 6.3. 6.3 reads as follows. The market consists of consumers who have various needs. That is true. Market consists of consumers that have various needs that must be satisfied. Those needs must be satisfied. So market is when there are needs and when those needs are attended to. So mention 4 types of consumers. Mention 4 types of consumers. So that is 6.3. Then we have what? End user market. We have industrial market. We have resale market. We have government market. We have international market. You know that when you're talking about end user market, we're talking about consumers purchasing for personal use. Consumers purchasing for personal use. For personal use. But when you're talking about industrial market, you're talking about business buying goods and services for production. Business buying goods for or services for production. Because when you're buying certain parts to make production or operations. But resale market now, you're talking about business buying to resell products. You are buying already finished products to sell them. Business buying to resell products. Buying to resell products. So with government market, that is government agencies purchasing goods and services. So here we are talking about government agencies. Government agencies purchasing goods or services. But with international market, that is a global market beyond domestic borders. Global markets beyond domestic borders. Beyond domestic borders. So that is how we were asked to answer that question, that is the market, the types of consumers, mentioned 4 types of consumers. So that is how we are to answer it. Question 4. Question 4 is about cognitive dissonance is the feeling of doubt and uncertainty that consumers experiences after purchase. Identify 4 reasons that may cause dissonance in consumers. So that is question 4. So here we are. So that is when the product is expensive. When product is expensive, then we are going to experience the dissonance. When the product is expensive product, high financial risk. Then where there is a high degree of similarity, between chosen product and the product that was not chosen. So similar, so that is going to give what difficulty in differentiating between options. It's going to give us problem when we are to differentiate between the options, when we have this similarity between the chosen product as well as the product that was not chosen. So that is that. Also, when it is relatively important decisions such as a house compared to the chocolate, when it is relatively important decisions, that is why they make an example of chocolate and the house. When there is a high degree of, when there is relatively important decision, such as a house compared to chocolate. So that is where we're talking about important decision now. Significant consequences is buying a house, that is that. Also, when there is a large number of alternatives to choose from, when you are having many alternatives, so such as going to overwhelm the overwhelming options, because you have large number of alternatives to choose from. So hope we are together. So now let us go to question 6.5. Now we are on 6.5. List 4 types of purchasing decisions that can be taken by consumers. List 4 types of purchasing decisions that can be taken by consumers. So here we are, whereby we are having routine decisions, we are having extended decisions, limited decisions, impulsive decisions. So those are decisions or types of consumer decision making. Routine decisions, that is habitual. That is habitual, low involvement purchase. Example, everyday grocery. So that is habit, not one. But extended decision, that is a high involvement complex purchasing requiring significant research. This one required you first to do a research. Like when you're going to buy a car, you don't just go and buy. You need to first make what a research. That is what we call it what extended decisions. That is a high involvement complex purchases requiring significant research. Limited decisions. This one is a moderate involvement purchases with some research, choosing a restaurant. So it's not like extended, but it's a moderate involvement purchases with some research, like choosing a restaurant that you can go and just buy from, or that is that. Impulsive decisions, these ones are spontaneous or unplanned purchases, buying on impulse. So buying sweets, like stuff like that. So those are the types of decisions, types of consumer decision making. So now let us move on. 6.6. 6.6, differentiated market segmentation is different from market aggregation because it generates high cost. State 6 examples of high cost. State 6 examples of high cost. As we are told that differentiated market segmentation is different from market aggregation because of what it generates high cost. So state examples of those high costs that you're talking about. So here are our answers. This is a product because of product modification and product differentiation cost. So those are the costs that whereby now you need to modify the products, tries to advance it. Production costs, because for you to produce a product now, there are costs to incur, stock keeping cost, storage cost now, also that is that. Marketing communication cost, where now you are making aware the potential customers of your product. So those advertisement, promotions, stuff like that. Managing cost as well as market research cost. Those are the examples of cost that we're talking about. So now define probability sampling. This is 2 marks. Define probability sampling. So that is every unit population has an even chance of being included in the sample. So that is how you are to answer question 5, and then you get your 50 marks. So now let us move on to question 7. Now let us move on to question 7. So here we are on our question 7. And quickly attend to it. 7.11. Name 3 examples of ideas that can be marketed. Name 3 examples of ideas that can be marketed. That is our question 7. So the 3 ideas that can be marketed, if you can still remember the entities of the market, this is ideas. And then with ideas, they say arrive alive, be wise, condomize, don't drink and drive. Stay home and be safe, mask up and sanities. That is 7.11. That is how we can answer it when we are asked about the 3 examples of ideas that can be marketed. So you know we have so many entities. We have tangible, non-tangible, we have information, experiences. But here we were asked to talk about ideas as one of the entities. So to give the examples of that, whereby we talked about being condomized, arrive alive. So those are that. Now 7.12. Name 3 examples of places that can be marketed. You see, a place as well is one of the entities or it's one of the 10 entities in the market. So now we are talking about place as one of the entities like ideas now. So name 3 examples of the places now. We can talk about Durban. It's one of the places that can be marketed. God's Window, Cape Town, 3 Rondavels. So those are the 3 places that can be marketed. So now we are moving on. 7.2 now. 7.2 says name one method of gathering primary data. Just to gather what? Primary data. So that is that. So 7.2, that is observation. That is a primary data when you observe by yourself physically. Experimenting, when you are doing experiments, when you survey, when you focus on focus groups. So that is how easy it was for you to answer that question. 7.3 now. The role of family member plays in purchasing a new product depends on the type of the product, the specific family. Then it says discuss now 4 roles that family members play when purchasing a new product. You are now to discuss what? 4 roles that family members play when purchasing a product. 4 roles that family members of public or family play when purchasing a product. Then we have initiator, that is the family member who recognizes the need. First, try to find out where there is a problem. That is initiator. They first identify what? The problem. Influencer, the family member who gives specifications about the product. So there is one in the family who's going to try to influence by giving one the specifications about the product. So it's going to tell much about the product, what benefits the product is going to offer. So it's going to influence by telling the benefits that are derived from the product. Decision maker, so we find that is a family member who says what and where and when to buy. So we have searched that. You have searched family who have what? A decision maker. Purchaser, then we have the purchaser, the family member that goes out and actually purchase what? The product. User, the family member that will use and consume what? The product. So that is that. So now 7.4, name three benefits of differentiated market segmentation. Name three benefits of differentiated market segmentation. Benefits that you're going to get from differentiated market segmentation. Benefits that you're going to get from differentiated market segmentation. So with differentiated market segmentation, there's going to be high income because the market is differentiated. Large market share, so more sales are going to come. Scale benefits of production and marketing because of the market is very large now. So there will be scale benefits on production as well as marketing. So that is that. Then 7.5, consumers compare products with each other by looking at the different variables. These three variables that consumers use to compare products with each other. These three variables that consumers use to compare products with each other. So all they're going to go for is the price of the product, the quality of the product. They're going to look at the quality, what it offers, the benefits of the value of the product, availability, accessibility, whether it will be easy. Designing as well plays a major role, and then usability, how to use the product. That's what they are looking at when they are trying by all means to, when they are trying to compare products with each other. 7.6 now. Name the social trend now. Name the social trend that caused an increase in demand for the following products. That caused a demand in following products. So here we're going to talk about washing machines. We're going to talk about washing machines, home fitness equipment, natural products, sugar-free soft drinks. So we are to name the social trend. We are to name what? The social trend that caused an increase in demand. That caused an increase in demand for the following products. So that is that. For the following products. So as we are asked to try by all means to name the social trend that caused an increase in demand for the following products, like we first started by what? Washing machine. So here are our answers. That is working women and then as well as altered family lifestyles. So that is the social trend that we're talking about. Working woman and altered family lifestyles. They will go forward, washing machines. Increase in health consciousness, increase in health consciousness, that is home fitness equipment. That is when you're talking about home fitness equipment, that is a product. So that is where they're going to increase in health consciousness. But with nature of products, that is increase in environmental awareness. Increase in environmental awareness and increase in health consciousness. But with sugar-free soft drinks, that is increase in health consciousness as well. So these are the end of this presentation. So we are on the end of this presentation. Thank you very much. That is all about marketing and for management. That was written in November 2024. So let us make use of this presentation to help us so that when we come to sit for the November 2025, we know for sure that we'll be very much ready and then pass marketing we and for with distinction. I assure you, I guarantee you, if you can go through this presentation, you are going to get your distinction. Thank you very much. Don't forget to share with others. And please, let us make sure that we hit the subscription button. Thank you.